Maybe just add, but it was some gravel and coming back. Oh, sure. It was that much higher than the wrong. And I said, that was our draft. I was calling it back 2 years ago, but the island is good and don't come all the yeah. I had it set really nice. I can't, you know, I just kept complaining. Never heard a word from it again. So part worked good. It's all that pulled back and it dried out. And then when they blade it,
45.
It's so dry. Yeah. Don't need the lights. Yeah. Well, I had down pressure. Yeah. All sharing. It was really.
Oh, I apologize. My fault.
Yeah. What?
I was going to send Brent a note. Yeah. I was going to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Said about out.
What'd you say? Oh, no, I just.
I thought I said something else. I'm like, huh? No. Okay. Brent, I apologize. I was going to do that. I was going to text you yesterday. Okay. I just got wrapped up in something.
Well, it's one day. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what I would do.
No, there really wasn't any information. So, all right, guys, 6 o'clock. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Monday, March 20th, 2023 River City Council meeting. As we begin here, I do just want to take a moment and recognize we received news to this last weekend that former council member Al Novak has passed away back on March 1st. So kind of details are really quiet and sketchy on that. Don't know a whole lot, just got that info here over the weekend. So you just keep that in mind a little bit. So, all right, with that, we'll move on to approving or amending the agenda. Does anybody have any changes in the agenda today?
Yeah, I'd like to make one.
Okay, Abe.
I'd like to move the personnel policy down to the consent agenda.
Okay. So we'll move 2.1 from the consent agenda down to general business 6.1. On that note, on consent agenda as well, I'd like to remove the 2.2 from the consent agenda, the March 6, 2023 council meeting minutes. There's some wording in that needs to be adjusted. So I'd like to just pull that from tonight, get that adjusted before the next meeting. Does anybody have anything else? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda with the 2 changes.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Leroy.
Second.
Thank you, Jay. Motion and a second to approve the agenda tonight with the note of changes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We've got no items for consent agenda tonight, so we'll move right into public forum, open forum. The public forum is intended to afford the public an opportunity to address concerns to the council. The public forum will be no longer than 30 minutes in length, and each presenter will have no more than 5 minutes to speak. Topics of discussion are restricted to local and governmental topics rather than private or political agendas. The council may discuss but will not take formal action on public forum presentations. We do ask if anybody has anything for public forum tonight, that you do step up to the podium, sign in, state your name and address, and go ahead. So anybody for open forum tonight? Can you do me a favor? Press that square button until the green light comes on. There you go. You're good.
Okay, good. So, my name is Lucas Ince. I'm here representing the property ID number 0493300196. Again, I came here last week to discuss some of the issue I had with the zoning. I've just come back to state that I've kind of gone, I've been trying to move forward with that process. I scheduled myself to do a wetland delineation. I've been trying to reach out to the city planner for the last 2 weeks. I've given 3 calls and left messages. And I've yet to receive any response from the planner. And obviously I'm trying to move quickly here and trying to move quickly here, and I'm trying to understand what should I do to, if she's the right person to be reaching out to about this, or anything else I should do.
She would be the right person. Mark, would you please follow up with Planner Nash on that? And
Phone number and all. Get that.
Do you want me to give that to you now, or? Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, and in addition, in the last meeting, you guys had talked about the potential of either doing a special meeting or trying to move through some of the planning process quickly. Is there anything we can get you at this point? You've obviously already have the land surveyed. The only thing we're missing to be able to do that plat process is the wetland delineation. Is there anything we can get to either you or the planning council early to maybe help move that process along as quickly?
I think probably the best thing, Lucas, would be to make sure that our staff has all those plans and everything so they can start the review.
Okay.
To make sure that, any comments or anything that might need to be adjusted in the plans, that way it'll give you time to, and your engineer time to make those adjustments prior to all the applications being filed.
Okay, we'll make sure that I will make sure
Yep.
along that all that gets.
Right, and I think too, if I remember right, that one with the driveway, there was probably a need for a variance on that driveway.
I believe so.
Because because the driveway would come onto a county road.
I think so. I have to do a little bit more research there, considering there was a culvert and documents that the county provided when the road was put in, so there might already be approvals from the county level.
Okay, just make sure keep up on that piece too, just so that piece doesn't get you behind as well.
Oh, will do.
But then I think other than that, Lucas, we'll have Administrator McNeil make sure that Cindy reaches out to you and returns and gets you the info that you need and answers your questions, and make sure our staff has all your plans and documents so that they can begin their review.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Lucas. Anybody else for open forum tonight?
Yeah, Mike Haberlack, 7905 165th Street. A lot of people can't make it to these meetings and watching at home.
It's hard. I've heard from about 4 or 5 different people. They can hear you guys pretty good. But there's a lot of complaints that can't hear people that are speaking. I don't know. I'm just bringing it to your attention.
Yeah,
I've heard
appreciate that.
I've heard this from about 4 or 5 different people. And I know sometimes when people get up there, they kind of move over to this
Yep.
side. Now, and I understand now,
Yeah.
you have to be in front of the
Microphone.
here, but it has been a complaint that I've heard a few times. Like I say, they can pretty much hear you people all the time, but so I don't know if you can check into that somehow. But that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I haven't gone back. Usually I'll go and randomly watch some of them back on the YouTube just to make sure everything's working fine. And
That's kind of.
well,
Up there.
a little bit of that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's still, what's that?
I watch him quite frequently.
Yeah.
In the podium, you could never hear.
It's
Okay.
difficult. I do watch.
Yeah.
Planning
Very,
commission.
All right. No, I appreciate the feedback. We'll look at that and
Okay, thank you.
see if we can figure out what's going on. Anybody else for open forum tonight? Hearing none, we'll close open forum and move into presentations. And tonight we have the 2022 audit presentation. And Dominique, do you want to introduce our guest here tonight?
I do. Tonight we have Tyler C. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about Tyler. Tyler's been working on our audit for 7 years, so he knows Credit River inside and out. I would say he's part of our virtual team. He has worked on audits for 7 years, and he's led our audit for 4 years. So he's an up and comer. I think he'll replace Brad soon. Just give him 3 more years. Anyways, but I think the best part about him is that he rolls up his sleeves and he knows a lot about us. And then the bulk of his clients are city clients. So he really is a resource for us as we went from being a township to a city. He's a wealth of information that way, and he's been able to guide us, and we've got some more changes coming up in 2023 and 2024. So I can't thank him enough, and he'll tell us all about our 2022 audit. It's all yours.
Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah, like you said, my name's Tyler, the audit manager at Advil. I'm just doing kind of the high level overview of the 2022 financial statement audit here. So I'll just get right into it. So the first slide here just talks about the audit results. So our responsibility as auditors is to issue an opinion on the city's financial statements. We are issuing an unmodified opinion in 2022. An unmodified opinion is a clean audit opinion. So I think the opinion that the city is striving for in the situation. So along with the audit opinion, we do issue what are called audit findings, which are basically legal compliance issues focused on state statute, more possibly internal control issues. We're also issuing no audit findings for the 2022 financial statement audit. So clean audit opinion, as well as no audit findings, compliance issues, anything like that. So then moving into the financial results. This first slide here shows the general fund balance from 2018 to 2022 in comparison to the following year's general fund budget. The city's general fund balance policy is to maintain a fund balance within 33 to 66% of the following year's budget. So at the end of 2022, the orange bar shows that, or the orange line shows that the city's fund balance is 71.9% of the following year's budget. So meeting and exceeding the city's fund balance policy at year end. Let's take a closer look at the general fund. Here we're looking at budget to actual results for 2022. On that column to the left, you're going to see the final budget for 2022. The middle, you're going to see the actual results, and on the right column, you're going to see the variance for that final budget. So revenues were above budget by about $330,000. Main reasoning for that being building permit revenue as well as interest earnings past year. Revenues are about $110,000 below budget. Main reason for that being less engineering costs in the general fund. That was kind of a key variance there. So all in all, the fund balance increased to about $428,000. And that bottom line there, that 1.5 million is the city's ending general fund balance for the year. Now here we're looking at the general fund revenues by type for the last 3 fiscal years. Your main sources of revenue in the general fund being your taxes, license and permits, intergovernmental revenue, and then some charges and services and other revenue sales and miscellaneous revenue. So main source of revenue in the general fund, like most cities, is just your property tax levy. And then some outliers, you'll see the last couple of years license and permit revenue being up because of the city taking over that permitting activity. And then back in 2020, that the large intergovernmental revenue, that's the CARES Act funding that occurred back in 2020. So those are some outliers there. Now, the next slide here, this highlights the general fund expenditures by department. Last 3 fiscal years again, but was split out between general government, public safety, public works, culture and rec, and capital outlay. So main 2 expenditure departments being general government and public safety. Let's say that increase in general government is again kind of due to that increased permitting activity just that's related with that associated with that activity. Otherwise, most things pretty consistent year over year in each department. Here we're looking at the city's 2 special revenue funds, your road and bridge fund and then your park fund. Overall, these 2 funds increased in fund balance in 2022 by about $250,000. Mainly the road and bridge fund was just expenditures coming in under budget for 2022, really the main reason for that increase. And the park fund had a little bit of increase as well.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
On the road and bridge, we also have that project where the neighborhoods have decided not
To go forward with the one project.
So that's the main reason for the.
As well as coming under.
Yeah, those are the 2 special revenue funds. Moving on to the capital project funds. The city has your main capital improvement fund and then the fund for the 2021 road project is still open as well. So this year, these funds overall increased about $100,000. Mainly that capital improvement fund increased about $100,000. Now, this slide here just highlights your outstanding debt. So currently the city has 3 bonds outstanding. And this just shows kind of the cash balance you have in each fund, as well as the amount of debt outstanding when the bonds mature. And then the bottom graph there just shows your future debt service obligation broken out between principal and interest. Now here we're just looking at your total cash and investment balances by fund type, so broken out between your different funds, general fund, capital, special revenue, debt service, and your enterprise funds. Just want to point out that increase in cash in 2022 from 2021, mainly due to just positive fund operations as well as the ARPA revenue that the city received in 2022, the second half of that funding. Now here we're looking at your sewer fund. So this slide here is all 3 of your subdivisions kind of combined into one. The top half shows the operating results for the last 4 years, just split between your receipts and disbursements and how that activity has gone. And then the bottom half there, that just shows your cash balance for the last 4 years. And the line is what's called the minimum target balance. So we have that minimum target balance at 35% of your operating costs. So it's kind of a healthy reserve, and the sewer fund is above that target for the last 4 years. And now here we're showing from 2019 to 2022 your change in cash balance. Here we're actually breaking up the 3 different subdivisions. Pretty consistent activity year over year. The one outlier is 2021 in Monterey Heights. That was a bond issuance, so those bond proceeds increased the cash balance that year. It wasn't spent the same year, but was spent subsequently. So last category of slides here is what we call key performance indicators. Just different statistics comparing City of Credit River with peer groups. The two peer groups being the class 4 cities, which you'll see in orange. Those are cities with 10,000 or less population. And then the yellow bars is just other cities in Scott County. And then the black line is City of Credit River. I will note that the peer group data, we only have up until 2020 at this point. We're just a little slow getting that data in this year. So the first graph there is your tax rate there on the left. Pretty steady, 15.6% at the end of 2022. So pretty steady tax rate there. And then also your taxes per capita is the one on the right. So both tax rate, tax capita, you're below your those peer groups of class 4 cities and other cities in the county. Now here we're looking at debt category now. So same format of the graph. First graph being the debt per capita. And again, kind of consistent with your tax per capita tax rate below those peer groups. The slide on the right there, that's your debt service expenditures as a percentage of total current expenditures. 2021 a little bit higher than other years just because of the bond issuances in that year. So that caused that kind of that debt service expenditure percentage to be a little bit high in proportion with all your other expenditures.
I would also interject, we paid one off early.
The bond refunded as well.
Yeah.
Was that in 2021?
I think. I thought
Was
it
it a
was,
refunding bond in 2021?
I think so.
And then last slide here, just showing your expenditures per capita. First graph being the current expenditures, so just all your operational expenditures, like the non-project related expenditures. And then the second slide there is your capital expenditures per capita, so your project related costs. So that one's pretty volatile based on when the projects actually occur year over year. So that's just again how you compare the peer groups. And that's my last slide. So I'll just open up for any questions or comments related to the audit.
Hey, council members, any questions for Tyler regarding the audit? Okay. Tyler, great job. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great meeting.
Thanks. Taylor.
All right, so let's move on to general business. In general business, 6.1, we moved 2.1 from the consent agenda for adopting the personnel policy for city employees. I think there was a wording section that you had. And good catch on that, Abe. I appreciate that.
Yeah, specifically, Mr. Mayor, section 3.21 service credit, it just had an underline there for employees existing at the time of initial adoption of this policy, they shall receive an initial service credit of. And
Blank.
this hang.
It left it blank.
Yeah, so I think there was some suggestion on just making that they shall receive initial credit for the number of years they have been employed with the township until the formation of the city.
Yeah, and that was your
Oh, that was
suggestion.
mine, I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
I
that
think,
came
I
back.
think,
I'm sorry.
Abe, I think the one, with, you know, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I
No.
think I've tried to be a little more inclusive of that because that would avoid then the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I think if we change that to they shall receive initial credit, service credit for the number of years they've been employed with Credit River.
Yes, yeah,
There you go.
Yeah,
yeah, sorry.
no, you're good. Yeah,
So I'd like to make that motion to change that verbiage.
so make the motion to approve the policy and change that verbiage
Sure.
in the same motion.
Sure.
So moved.
So we had a motion by Abe. All right. And a second by Jade, is that what I
Yep.
heard?
Second.
So we got a motion, a second to adopt the personnel policy for city employees with the one noted change on section 3.2, changing it to state that they shall receive an initial service credit of the number of years that they have been employed with Credit River. Any other discussion? Then we'll take the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Move on to section 7.1, the check summary for tonight.
Check summary we do not need a transfer, from savings to checking. We're okay. The amount to approve is $74,032.48.
Any council members have any questions on any of the claims for tonight? If not, I would take a motion to approve the claims for tonight.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Leroy.
Second.
Thank you, Jay. I got a motion and a second to approve the claim summary for tonight for $74,032.48. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Section 8, council member liaison updates. Does anybody have any updates for tonight?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Brent.
we had the interviews with the city of Prior Lake for fire captain hiring. That was last Tuesday. 4 candidates, they have 3 positions, so they will be hiring 3 captains for the 3 shifts. Their 4 finalists are all excellent, any of them could through the interview process and their resumes and past experience, just all incredibly good. We did narrow it down collectively. Chief, assistant city manager, one of the police captains, and Ted Kowalski, Springwood, and myself. They will get this finished up and they should probably be offering the positions within the next couple of weeks. So really good process, great candidates. I think we're going to be in really good shape with the individual people minute by minute commanding that group when we go full time on July 1st.
So Brent, are these going to be then the captains that will each have one of the duty crews?
Yeah, so
Okay.
there'll be a captain and 3 of the crew members. They were going to do the interviews for the full-time firefighters that next day.
Oh.
On Wednesday, the 15th. So they are moving right along. But a really good process and good candidates with the captains. The chief seems really, he'll make the final decision, but he's very confident and it's a great process. And I think we should be in really good shape.
So if they're going to offer those, now the offer will be, the position will be starting though in July.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
Because there's some people that have other positions where they would have to give a resignation and come in. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for attending
Yeah,
that.
it was great.
I know it's short notice.
No, I think from a confidence standpoint, we need to feel confident that they have this very well thought out. We're going to be in good shape.
Did they talk about how many applicants for firefighters they had?
They didn't, and we weren't involved with that, but
Okay.
I understand they've had quite a few.
Okay,
So, yeah.
that's good.
I also mentioned to Chief that at some point when things get done over there, that we would really like to see Fire Station 1 with all of the changes. And he said, yeah, absolutely. So, and I said, I would think the public would want to too at some point. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a whole different addition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's in process or in
Perfect.
progress. So,
Thank you, Brad.
Yeah.
Cool. Anybody else have anything else? No road stuff, nothing? All right. Yeah, other than I suppose. And we know there's potholes.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get out and grade the gravel roads as soon as we can, once the frost is out and
Moving speed bumps.
Yeah, I bet you we don't have a problem speeding in some of those areas.
No.
Right?
Lose the front end.
And then even on the blacktop roads, plants aren't open yet, so we can't patch blacktop roads yet, so.
And it doesn't do any good to blade because the frost is still coming out and it just makes it even worse.
Right, so. We'll get there when the time is right. Perfect, all right, well, if nobody's got anything else in that category then I would say, looking for a motion to continue this meeting so we can. Start our workshop for the night.
Recess to
I make a motion to recess.
Thank you, Leroy. Thank you, Abe. Got a motion and a second to recess to the workshop. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?